good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you're in the world. Welcome to another Microsoft section brought to you by UrBizEdge. So for today's session, we're having advanced data validation technique. And our presenter, our special guest is Crispo Mwangi. So, and also I want to introduce to our new partners, MHS Analytics. So they're part of our new sponsors. So for some of you that might be interested in taking your data analysis skill to the next level. So MHS Analytics is found in Canada. So they specialize in Excel, Power BI, and also financial modeling with the motto of they are committed to giving the clients the business intelligence edge they need using a tool they already know, such as Power BI, Excel, and some other basic tools. So about us, UrBizEdge. So we're registered Microsoft Excel consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analysis, and also enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. We also specialize in helping companies and high-value professionals be on top of the business data. We're also the developer of some Microsoft tools, which you can find on Microsoft Office Store, such as the Nigerian Finance Market Analysis tool, which is available in the Microsoft Office Store. We're also the developer of the Nigerian Stock Analysis Dashboard and so many other applications you need for your finance and data. As you all know, we're also a training company in Lagos, Nigeria. We also have branches in Abuja and also in Port Harcourt. So our upcoming training, which is going to be on the 11th of April, we're having Python for data analysis. On the 14th of April, that's next month, we'll be having in-depth Excel training, executive dashboard, business data analysis. And also on the 17th of April, we're having financial modeling, financial planning and training. So our special guest, Crispo. So he's a Microsoft certified trainer, a Microsoft certified solution expert in data management and analytics, a Microsoft certified solution associate in BI reporting, a Microsoft certified Office specialist, that's Excel specialist, that's an Excel expert, certified Power Platform app maker. He has NITA accredited trainer with over 10 years worth of experience creating data-driven solutions for various business problems. He's passionate in helping organizations manage their data assets and find the best and fastest way to get insight from their data, getting the right data to the right people at the right time. I think that's his motto. So with no further ado, I'll stop sharing my screen and hand over the session to Crispo. So Crispo, over to you. So I'll stop sharing and I'll go backstage.
Okay, let me share my screen. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so this is an advanced class. So if you are a newcomer here and you didn't see the previous class, I think we have a link somewhere in the chats, so you can go look at it later on. And also, if you want to download this workbook that I'm working on, so that you can be able to go and work along, you can do that. I think there's also a link on the workbook, on the charts. So last time what we did is that we went and we looked at why do we need to do data validation. Data validation is very important because data cleaning, I know data analysis is one of the best jobs that we have allowed, but a lot of time is spent on data cleaning, like over 80% of the time is spent on data cleaning. So if you don't want to spend too much time on data cleaning, you need to be able to validate your data so that it comes in, and when it's being collected, it can be consistent, accurate, complete, and there's a lot of uniformity and uniformity in it. So what we did last time is that we checked, we went through the different scenarios on data validation, how to do data validation. You can read, you can watch all this in the video, and we went through the built-in rules. So if you want to access data validation, there's a shortcut is Alt, A, V, and V. And we went through all these built-in rules last time. How to validate for whole numbers, decimals, lists, dates, time, text length, and a bit of custom. So I will not go through that. How to input a message, how to do an error alert. So all that is in the video that is in the charts. And then we went and saw cascading lists. The problem with the cascading list that we looked at last time, they are not expanding. So today, what we are going to do is that we are going to start with, this is where I would like us to start today, dynamic and searchable lists. So the lists that we checked last time, they were not expanding. So now I want you to show you how you can create a expandable dynamic list. So for example, you have your staff here and you have your department and sections. And you have this list that you want to validate against. That if somebody is given the finance department, they can only be assigned payroll, receivables or payables. Administration the same, HR the same. So what you do is that the first thing that you do, and I've also put these steps here just in case you want to go and try it again. The first thing that you need to do for your list is to convert it into a table. So you select your list, ensure that the departments are like the column headers. And then you select your list and then Control T. And Control T, I have already converted it into a table. Control T will convert your list into a table. I've called my table TBL list. So one thing that you need to understand is that in data validation, you come here and say list, you cannot put a table name here as a source. So because data validation, they don't accept table names. So what you do, you need to break your tables into two. So what we are going to do is that we need to have this part, the headers. We need to convert these headers into a list, and the data, the sections, also into a list. So what we do is that you come to formulas, and then you say define name, and then you say you want your departments. Department. And your department should refer to the TBL. This is very important because these headers expand. Yeah, so they dynamically expand. So you should be able to select, and they should be able to see TBL department and then the headers. So that's where your departments are. And then you come also, you create another name. This time we are going to call it sections. And your sections should be all these data. Yeah. So then you say, okay. So now when you are doing your departments, highlight and then out A, V, and V. So now you can be able to refer to the name, to the list name. If you press F3, I hope I'm right. Yeah, it will give you all the names, the defined names. So now we have a defined name, which is department. So this list will always look at the department's name, and then let's see. So these are the only departments that we have right now. Yeah. So so if you added another department, let me call it sales. It's included. So that means that it is dynamically expanding. Yeah. If you don't do using a tables and then converting the table headers into a list, this one is not possible. So now the beautiful part is, how do we have cascading lists? How do we ensure that when I select finance, I can only select the sections that are under finance? So what we do is that we use the index and match. So select the sections, again, out A, V, and V. And now instead of using a list, we need to use a custom. We need to use a function, and we need to say equals index we want to fetch the sections. Yeah, we have called them sections. Comma, and then match whatever is selected here. Sorry. So comma match C3, whatever department is selected here. We need to look it up in our list called department. And then it should be exact. And then you close your match, and then you close your index. Doesn't agree. I think it. Let me check the name. Oh yes, department. So V and V. Oh, sorry, this one needs to be at the list, but the list should be we want to continue. So give me a minute. Index. Depart sections. Sometimes if your formula doesn't work in when you're doing data validation, you need to write it outside and then you can paste. Match what you are matching is this. And then your lookup array is sections, and then it should be exact. Oh, sorry, it's not sections, it's departments. No idea why this is not working. Give me a minute. Close our section. So if we match in department, and then it should be exact. It's column wise. Index. Index sections. Sorry, I was putting it in the row argument, but it should not be in the row argument. It should be in the column. So now that works. So in case your formula doesn't work in data validation, it's good to put it, test it outside, and then you can go and copy and paste. Now that we know that this is working, we just need to copy it and then select the area that you want to go and have it fixed. So out A, V, and V, and then your custom, then you paste it. Sorry, out A, V, and V. Not a custom, sorry, it's a list. Yeah. So in case you select finance, you can only be able to assign them in the section that 𝗴𝗲𝗁 you select 𝗲𝗁, it's only going to give you the sections that have 𝗲𝗁. So in case you come here and you added another department, or in case you come and added sections for sales, let's say marketing and distribution. Go to your list, select sales. What you see is only the departments that are for the sales. So the trick here is, first of all, you create your list into a table, and then you ensure that your headers are, you go to the name manager, you call your headers, whatever you want to call them. For me, I've called them department, and then you call your data sections. And then after that, you use the index and match. And don't make that mistake that I was making of trying to do the row number instead of the column number. So the other thing that I wanted us to look at is how to create searchable lists. So sometimes you have this big list and you want to search the list. Like if I want only milk as a drink or yogurt as a drink, because we are trying to put the 𝗱𝗴𝗵𝗁 drink for all the individuals, but they have told us milk. We don't want to go and start selecting all this, so we need to a way to filter for milk. If you have Office 365, and I'm going to use Office 365, the easy way to do it is, first of all, let's say, in case I put the word milk, I need a list in column G that is going to search for me only a drink that contains the word milk. So how we do that is we say search. What we are looking for milk. Within what text? Within the drinks. And this is what it will return. It will return for me the possession of milk, if there's the name milk in that text, and where there's no milk, it will return a value. Yeah. So now we need to convert this into a logical a Boolean list. So the only way we can convert this into true and falses is we say is number, and then we have true and falses. Yeah, and then now if you have this logical true and false array, you can use the filter function to return for you only the rows that have trues. Yeah. So what you can say is filter for me the drinks, and then include only the rows that have true values. And that's it. So in case I put something like yogurt, I just have to put YO and then it is going to filter for me all the yogurts in that section. So how you get this list into your data validation? Select the area and then out A, V, and V. You say you want a list. A list. And then it is equals to. The beauty about dynamic array or spill arrays is that you just have to come and select G3 where your formula is, and then you put the hash sign. So this will take up all the. So this is how you reference dynamic arrays. So if I put the hashtag, it takes up everything because it's a spilled array. So now you can see this is everything. But now I don't want to see everything. I want to filter for milk. Yeah, so you see this because there's no milk. There's nothing like exact milk. So what you need to do if you don't want to see this error, you need to come and switch off, show the error alert after invalid data is entered, because actually it's not invalid. We want to use a filter. So now if I come and I say milk, I'll be able to only see the milk data. So if I come and I say yogurt, it's going to filter for me. Oh yeah, so it's going to filter for me only the yogurts, and I can put the drink that is favorite for that individual. So the trick here is you use the filter function, and then when you are referencing that list, use the hashtag to reference the spilled array. Yeah. So that's all about dynamic list and also searchable list. But for today, I wanted us to go and look at functions, the part that we didn't do. But before we get into complex functions, I want us to don't have a lot of time. I want us to remind us of how to use simple functions. Yeah. For example, if this is your staff and these are your salary grades, you want, like when a staff is assigned grade 1, you can only give them the salaries that are within the minimum and the maximum of that salary grade. Yeah. So what you do, the first thing that you need to do is that you need to have a drop down of grades, so to prevent a person from selecting any other grade than what you have. So this is the easy part. That's the easiest part. So you can only select these grades. But now, how do you ensure that the salary is within the grade brackets? You need to use a 𝗲𝗏𝗡. And this is where always when you are working with data validation, always test your formulas outside first before you go and put them in data validation. For example, if in grade 1, the minimum that I can, if I use 𝗲𝗏𝗡, what 𝗲𝗏𝗡 does is that it's going only to fetch for me 𝗲𝗏𝗡, sum range is the minimum range, and then the grade, the criteria range is the grades and the criteria that I've selected, is whatever that is in cell C3, and it's going to return for me the minimum, which is 17. And if I do for the maximum, it's going to return for me 28. In case I come here and I change this to grade 3, you can see grade 3, the minimum is 58,000 and the maximum is 70,000. So the only thing that is remaining is to have this mean and max inside the data validation. So what you do is that you come to your salaries, out A, V, and V. It's something that is called as a whole number, but a whole number between what? Your salary is a whole number between what minimum and what maximum. Yeah. And now that you have these formulas, I'll copy the formula. This is the formula for minimum. Out A, V, and V. As a whole number that is between the minimum. For the maximum, let me just put 2 for now, but I'm going to replace it with a maximum formula. Out A, V, and V. So for now, if you try, you see for grade 3, somebody is supposed to earn a salary between 58,000 and 70,000. So if you try to put something like 40,000, it's going to refuse because 40,000 is not between the 58,000 and 70,000. So if you put 60,000, supposed to accept because 60,000 is within that range. Yeah. So formulas give you a bit of flexibility when you are doing your data validation. But these are the simple formulas that we have. Today, I wanted us to look at more complex. If you go and watch that video, you see how to validate for unrepaid ones. If you don't want to pay in excess, this one didn't work last time. So let me show you how to do it. Because if you want to ensure that the first land, everything that you pay is within the sales, it's a simple formula that the sales should be equal to your first run and your second run. Yeah. So this formula, for now, it tells you that is what is true, but that should not be true. It should be, yeah, it can be less, but it cannot be more. So whatever that you are going to pay should be either less or equal to whatever you sum in the first pay and the second pay. So if you have this kind of a formula, so all you need to do is to go and copy. Out A, V, and V. Oh yeah, I had already done the validation. So this is the formula. So in case I come here and say 1730 was the first run, then I try to pay another 100. It will not accept because 1730 plus 100 is greater than 1738. So those are the form, and then you can see since I'm testing it outside here, when it is false, it's invalid data. When it's true, it's valid data. The same thing like for multiples of 7, all you need to ask yourself, how do you know a multiple? If the divisor is equal to 0, then that's a multiple. But for the sake of time, I will not go through this. I want us to go into a bit of complex formulas today. One thing I need you to remember when you are doing the complex formulas is how do you eat an elephant? Yeah. If you want to write a complex formula, remember that you have to do it 1 formula at a time, or like what I say, if you want to eat an elephant, you have to do one bite at a time. And I want us to look at text functions validation. If you want to validate for uppercase, it's just that the data that you put in cell C3 should be exactly the upper of that cell, of that text. So in case I put lowercase, it doesn't match. I had done these validations before, and I want to show you that formula. So the formulas that is here is whatever that is in C3 should be exact the upper of that text. So that's how you validate for uppercase. How you validate for lowercase. This is different, but lowercase, it should be just the lower of whatever that you put here. Start with uppercase followed by a lowercase. That is called proper in Excel. So the exact of whatever that is here should be. For example, if I try to start with lowercase and then I follow by uppercase, that is not proper. Proper starts with an uppercase and then is followed by a lowercase. So the three functions, we are going to use this a lot in this class today: the proper, the lower, and the upper. So those are the simple ones. But now I want us to look at something a bit. Give me a minute. So when you are doing a complex formula, this is all that you need to remember. Test your formulas first. Select the area you want to apply for validation. Go paste your validation there, and then you can turn on validation circles just in case there are some existing data that was not validated before it was input. So for our class today, you have been told that the employee code should be at least 7 characters. The first 3 letters should be CET, and the last 4 should be numbers. So how do you write that kind of validation? So we are going to break it down just the way we have been told, that the first 7 characters, the whole employee code should be 7 characters. So the formula that we use for that is len. So the length of this should be equal to 7 characters. And then the first 3 characters should be CET. If you write the first 3 is that the right of this, and then 3. So not the right, but the left. That's it. So if you come here and say it should be equal to CET, this shows you as true, but it is not correct. Yeah. For example, if I come here and I say I change this to small letters, it still shows true, because Excel is not case sensitive. So if you want to use case sensitive, if you want to work with case sensitive data in Excel, you have to use 2 functions, and the function is exact and find. So for you to do a good data validation, you have to come and say, you need to put this in exact. You come and say exact. This text, the first 3 letters should be to the CET, which is capital letters. So now that tells you that it's true, that is false. Yeah. So if you want to validate against any case sensitive data, you have to use exact. So let's go back to CET. So how do we know the last should be 4 numbers? We come and say right of these. How many characters? The last 4. It gives you 0001. This looks like a number, but it's not a number. It's a text number. Yeah, because if you come here and say it's number, just to check whether it's a number, it tells you that that is not a number. It looks like a number, but it's not a number. So how you convert a text number into a number is by doing a mathematical operation on it. So we are going to add a 0. And by adding a 0 now, that becomes a number. And remember that fact, because we are going to use that for the rest of the class, that to convert a text number into a number, into a real number, you do a mathematical operation. You can add 0. I see people times 1. So you can do times 1 or plus 0. It's one and the same thing. It gives you that the last 4 is the actual numbers. But now, when I was doing this, I thought you need, for a good employee code, it needs to be sequential, so that if it is, this is CET001, the second one should be CET002 all the way. So you should not have CET001 and then CET0010 or something like that. So how do we validate sequential numbers? It's so easy. It's just saying that the next number, the last 4 next numbers should be the previous 4 last numbers plus 1. So if you come and say the right of the previous number and then remember to plus 0, this should be equal to the right of the next number, the next 4 numbers, and then plus 1. Yeah. So the previous, no, the next number, for it to be sequential, should be the next number should be the previous number. So C22 should be C21, and then because since we are going to apply it like that, C23, C24 up to the last. So C22 should be C21 plus 1. Yeah. So the next number should be the previous number plus 1. That's all that this function says. But now, since we are starting, that is going to give us an error. So when you are starting, the very first cell is going to give you an error. So what you need to do, you need to come and say, if error. So you know, wherever there's an error, that is the first cell that you are starting to key in data. And you want to ensure that the first cell that you want to key in data should start with 001. Yeah. So you come and say right of whatever text that will be in the first cell, 4 plus 0. So that text, or that number, sorry, that number, the very first number, the very first 4 numbers that you are going to put should be equals to 1. Because you know that is when the only other time you should not have any other error. The only error that you are going to have is when you are starting. So now you can come and validate that it should start with CET0001. Yeah. So that's okay. So this is going to ensure that we have sequential numbers, and I'm going to show you that. So the other thing that I thought was you should not skip a row. So you should not have CT001 and then you come here and then you put like CT003 and all that. So you should not skip a row. How do you ensure that you don't skip a row? Is that to ensure that the previous row should not be equal to blank. Yeah. So now, this is where it gets even more complex, is that you need to have all these functions in one. You need to nest all of them somehow, and you are going to use the AND. So 7 and the first 3 is true, and the last 4 is a number, and then it should be sequential and you should not skip a row. So how you do it is, let me show you. We are going to copy all these into our clipboard. Do that, Control C. You copy all the formulas into the clipboard. Control C. Control C. So I want to copy all the formulas into the clipboard now that we know everything is working. Then we need to combine them. And then Control C. So we need to have all these numbers, all these formulas combined. So what we are going to come and say equals, and they should be, we're going to use the AND logic. So AND, you just, since they are all here in the clipboard, you just click. So that's the first logical test, that it should not skip a row. The second logical test is that it should be sequential. The third logical test is that the last 4 numbers should, should be numbers. And then the other logical test is that it should start with the letter CET. And then the last one is that it should have 7 characters. And that is true. So now this is the formula that you are going to use to do your data validation. So just copy it first. And then highlight the area that you want to do data validation, AV and V, custom, and then you paste it. So now you just need to test. Yeah. And I'll show you this. I've made a mistake, but I'm going to show you so that you don't make the same mistake. So if you come here and try to put 003, it will not agree because 003, first of all, is not sequential. Yeah. So if I put 002, it will agree. What if I skip a row and I come here and I put CT 0003? You see, so it's allowing you to skip a row. So that's why I've put this. If you don't untick ignore blank, this logical test will not work. So what you do, you go back and you say ignore blank. So you need to untick this. So, sorry. Do not agree. Let me show you. We first of all do that and then remove that. And then untick. So in case right now I try to skip hello and I put my 1, 2, 3, you'll not agree. Yeah. So when you are doing a complex data validation for a formula that like this, you need to break it down into logical tests. What's your logical test number 1, logical test number 2, logical test number 3, like that, and then you test it. If you try to write this kind of a formula inside data validation, you'll not be able to make it. Yeah. So the whole idea is that you need to remember how to eat an elephant. You eat an elephant 1 bite at a time. Yeah. So that is how you ensure that your data is sequential, doesn't skip hello, and then you can input other logical tests. So the other thing I want us to see is what if you are told so this is the next thing. So your project code should be 7 characters. Now we all know how to do that. And it should contain any 3 letters, and it should contain any 4 numbers. So first logical test, the length should be 7. So how do we tell the difference between numbers and letters in a text string? So the only way that we can do that is that we need to split this into individual characters. So how you do that, you use the mid function equals mid text. So you need to split it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. So the function that we are going to use here is sequence. But if you don't have Office 365, I'll show you how to do it without Office 365. Sequence will give us a list of rows. But the rows that we want in sequence is that we want the rows that are equal to the length of that text. And then we want the number of characters, we want 1 character at a time. Yeah. So now at least we have split all the characters in that text string. So how do we know what is a letter and what is a number? So this is a trick. If you want to know numbers, is that if you do a mathematical, what we have learned is that if you do a mathematical operation on a number, on a text number, it converts into a number. But for anything that is not a number for a letter, it will convert into an error. Yeah. So now we know numbers and we know letters. Letters is anything that is an error is a letter. Anything that is a number is a number. So how do we count for the letters? We need to convert these errors into true and the numbers into false. So we come and say is error. So anywhere that is true is a number. Anywhere that is false is a letter. No, anywhere that is false is a letter, and anywhere that is true, anywhere that is false is a number, and all the true ones are the letters. So we need to come and do a sum product. You need to convert also the true and falses into numbers. So as you can see, it tells us that it has 3 letters, which is actually K, W, and G. Yeah. So the same thing, how do you know how many numbers that are in that text string? You need to, but now we are going to use a different formula. For the sake of time, allow me to instead of, if you don't have sequence, let me show you, because the only thing that is different here is that if you don't have sequence, you can use the row and indirect function. So if you come here and say equals row indirect 1 and the length it will split for you. It is going to give you an array of 7 rows. Yeah, and this is the same thing that you get when you are using a sequence. Sequence. Yeah, so if you don't have Office 365, this is how you do it. So now we are going to use this to split our string here. Let's come say mid. And then we want to split it. So now how do you tell numbers? If you add a mathematical operation, you can know the numbers. And then one thing that you need to realize is that count ignores errors. So you can just come here and say count. And it will tell you that actually that this string has 4 numbers. So just like what we did the other time, you need to come and do add first logic, the second logic, and the third logic together. Go to home, copy everything on the clipboard, Control-C. Control-C. And then these are not many, they're just 3, Control-C. And then you come, you say and. Since everything should be inside the and function, your first logic is that it should have 4 numbers. The second logic is that it should have 3 letters. And the third logic, it should have 7 characters. And that is true. So the same thing you highlight. I think I've already done that because of the sake of time. So it's the same formula that we have done. You just paste it. So if you try to do your project code, if I try to do something different, like 1, 2, 3, 4, that one doesn't match the criteria. So it needs to be 7 characters, any 3 numbers, 4 letters. This is the function that you use. And the whole idea here is that you need to break down your logics and then you combine them if you want to create a complex data validation formula. Yeah. I can see time is running out. So now we go into something even more complex. So the whole idea here is that now you have been told that, again, 7 characters, it can be 7, it can be 6, but any 2 lowercase letters and any 1 uppercase letter and 4 numbers. So now you need to be able to differentiate between the lowercase and the uppercase. So let me do this. So how do you separate? How do you tell what is lowercase and what is uppercase? So we are going to do this a bit first, and I'll show you how to do it. The first step is that we need to split, which we already know. We need to split our text. So now this is our text. Then we need to confirm, because we want to know what numbers are lowercase and what numbers are uppercase here. We need to convert this into lowercase. As you can see, the capital letter that the uppercase that is here now has been converted into a lowercase. And then we need to compare what was lowercase and what was uppercase between the two text string. So if you come here and say what has been exact between the original text string and the converted text string. So it will tell you, you see, when you do the only thing that changes when you do the uppercase and the lowercase is the letters, not the numbers. So it's true the numbers have not changed, but this has changed, and everything else has not changed. So you can only tell that you only have one capital, one uppercase. But how do you tell the lower cases from the numbers? Yeah. So you need to find a way to separate between the numbers and the text. Because now if you try to count, you see that this is going to be counted as true, this is true, this is true. All these are true, but actually the only true that we want is this. And this, those are the only two lowercase letters that we have. So we need to separate, we need to be able to extract these two without counting the numbers. So what we do, we say our split if you add a 0, then you know anything that has value is a letter. Anything that is returned as a number is a number. So if you come and say is error, to return false for the numbers, and it only return true for the letters. So now we can be able, if we multiply this and this, the only thing that will be returned is only the lowercase. So if you come here and say that multiplied by our separated list, so the only thing that is remaining is the lowercase numbers, letters. So now we can just come here and do a sum. So this text string has only two lowercase letters, which we have seen. I know this is a lot, but if you want to do, this is, I've not found any other way of differentiating between lowercase and uppercase in a text string. So you have to go through all these, and the formula, all that formula I had written it is here. So everything that I've done here, this is it. Yeah. So for the uppercase, you have to do the same thing. Yeah. And also for the number, the same thing that we did up there, split it and then do a mathematical operation and then check if it is a number. Yeah. So now when you add all these, because of time, I can see time has really run out. Let me do this. Let's do the same thing for we copy everything in our clipboard. Control C. Control C. And then Control C. So our complex formula will be AND. First logical test, second logical test, and the third logical test. This can be, I know it looks big, but if you remember to do it one logical test at a time, if you don't get anything else from this webinar, remember when you are faced with such a complex formula, you need to split it into simple logical tests. Yeah. So now when you have done this outside the formula, all you need to do is copy it. Highlight where you want to validate your data. Out A, B, and B. Custom, and then I don't think I copied it. Out A, V, V. I don't know why it's not copying, but if you copy it, that will work. Yeah. So the whole idea is that in case you are faced with this kind of a complex data validation, you need to split it into small steps, and then you combine those small steps into a nested function, and then use that function in your data validation. I can see we are already at 7 p.m. Can I continue, or Shidi?
You can continue, but we know we have another section very soon. But you can still continue.
Okay. Is there any question? Because I not even checked any questions so far.
So someone's asking that, can you share the updated worksheets at the end of this section?
Yes,
That's
yes,
this one you're
can.
currently using. Okay.
Yes. I'll share it.
Okay, continue.
Okay. For the dates, the beauty about data validation is that if you know your functions, is that you can do anything with the functions inside data validation. For example, we want to do a bit of complex date functions validation. Your leave can only start on a weekday. So how do you validate that when an employee is applying for leave, that they don't select a weekend? Yeah. So the function that you use is weekday. So weekday returns a number from 1 to 7 as identifying the day of the week. So if you do this, you know that this is a Sunday, and then you need to tell it, when does your week start? I'll say my week starts on a Monday. So I'll put 2. So since this is a Sunday, it will return a 7. So what we want to know is that any date that is put in these cells should be less or equal to 5, because you see Monday to Friday is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you can say anything that is greater than, or anything that is less than 6. Anything that is less than 6 should be the one that is inserted as a leaf start date. So that simple formula will ensure that you don't have any leaf starting on a weekend. Highlight again, Control A, V and V, and then I had put that anything that is less than 6. That you can say no weekend. Then no weekend. That's it. So if I try to put today as it will not allow. But if I try to do yesterday, which is equals to today minus 3 days ago, it will accept. Yeah. So that's a simple date function. But now, leaf can only start on a work day. So now, when you start introducing workday, that means that you have some holidays somewhere that you have. If you select all the, you select all these, have created a namelage called holidays. Yeah. So the function to use is workday. How does workday work? So workday equals workday. Workday returns a serial number of a date before or after a specific number of workdays. Yeah. And when you open it, it tells you when do you want to start. I want to start on this date. And then how many number of workdays do you want me to check? I want you to check for 1 workday, and you can see it is asking you for holidays, but it's not a required field, a required argument. So if I do Monday, 1 workday, after 1 workday from Monday, then we go to Tuesday because it counts that day. It starts counting from the day from the initial start date. You see the start date, it counts the start date. Then if you add a day, it tells you that Monday after 1 workday is a Tuesday. But what if Tuesday was a holiday? Let's put Tuesday as a holiday. And see what happens. So when it comes to our holidays, then we say push Tuesday as a holiday. So we expect it to tell us that 1 day from Monday, and if Tuesday is a holiday, it should give us Wednesday. Yeah. So what if we want to test if the day itself is a holiday? So if you do workday, if you do Monday, you minus 1, and then you plus 1. What does it give you? It gives you, because you see you are going back 1 step and then you're adding 1 step. So it returns the same date. So that's how you trick workday to test a date on its own. Yeah. So Monday minus 1 plus 1 returns you the same date. Now, if you want to check if Monday is a holiday, if Monday was a holiday, let's see what you see. If you have not put the holidays, it returns the same day. What if Monday was a holiday? It returns Tuesday. So the argument here is simple, is that if the day that we insert here, if you minus 1 and then you plus 1 and you check it against the holiday, and it's not the same date like what we have seen, then that's a holiday. I know it's a kind of a circular logical argument, but this is how you check a date against holidays to see whether that date is a holiday or not. Yeah. So all you need to do again is copy that, highlight where you want to put your data validation, and then paste it. So these are our holidays. So if I try to put 4th of March 2023, it will not agree. Yeah. If I try to put let's try to put 14 2023. That one will agree because it's not a holiday. So workday minus 1 plus 1, you check against holidays to ensure that you start on a workday. The last one, which is a bit interesting, is you want to validate that you only be told that meetings only happen on the following work days: Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you want any date that is set for a meeting, it should be on a Monday, on a Wednesday, or a Friday. So we are going to use something, function that is a bit interesting. It's called workday INTL. The reason why we are going to use this is, if you read here, it says that it returns the serial number of the date before a specified number of workdays with custom weekends parameters. That is what we are going to use. You can tell Workday International on what days do you want it to, what days are weekends and what days are weekdays. Yeah. So you can say this is my start date, and then days is 1. So basically, and then it tells you choose for me a weekend. The other one assumed Sunday and Saturday is a weekend, but here you can choose a weekend. It can be Tuesday, it can be Wednesday and Thursday, it can be Friday and Saturday. All these, I'm assuming you know how to use all these, and then you can even select for late the holidays. But what I want us to learn is that you see that equals you can specify the weekend. You can specify like the specific days of the week that you want to set as work days and what you want to set as a weekend. And these are the rules. For custom weekends always starts with a Monday, and a work day is equal to 0 and a weekend is equal to 1. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you want your meetings to be done on only Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you need to come and say work day. So Monday is a 0. You see work days is 0 and weekends is 1. So we want your days to be on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And since it starts on a Monday, so you need to come and say 0 for Monday. Tuesday, you don't work on Tuesday. Wednesday, you work on Wednesday. You don't work on Thursday. And then you work on Friday. And then you work on Saturday, and you don't work on Saturday, and you also don't work on Sunday. So this code, when you put it inside the workday, will only give you true if it is on a let me repeat that. So workday is Monday. So Monday is a workday. Tuesday is a weekend. Wednesday is a workday. Thursday is a weekend. Friday is a workday. And then Saturday and Sundays are also weekends. Yeah, so it should be like that. So now all we need to do is we need to come and put this code inside our workday. So we tell it workday. If you check that date against itself, -1 + 1, it should be, and then check it against our weekends. If it is true that it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, then return true, else return false. Yeah. So when you copy this, custom, and then you can come and say only Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So if I try to put a meeting on a Tuesday, so it's today +2, it will not agree because it's not a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Wednesday. But if I try to put a meeting on a Wednesday, it will accept. So the only trick here is to ensure that your custom weekends, when you are doing your custom weekend, you use this code. Remember that a workday is 0 and a weekend is 1, and then you can create your week the way you want. If you want to work on only Thursdays and Saturday and Sunday, so this is how you create a custom week, a custom workday, and then you can put it inside the workday international function, and then that's it. I think I'm done unless can have a bit of time for. I know that this is send this to every person, and then you can watch the video again. So now if you can have a bit of questions and answers or.
Awesome.
Yes.
Amazing.
I know time is always against us. I don't know what we're going to do with time.
It's fine. This is really a lot. This is actually a lot. So if you have any question, you can raise your hands up or you can put it in the chat box. So now I'll unmute you and make you speak or something. So if you have any question, just raise your hands and let's see. So if you have any question, please raise your hands up. So some people are asking that we didn't get the someone said that you definitely go get the material, something like that. So you said the material will be made available. And
yes.
Okay, so since as I was waiting for questions, right? So our last two questions usually ask our special guests is, I know you've been to our session more than once. So the first one is how you started your old data journey, and the second one should be what advice for people just starting out in the data field. So if you can help us with that.
Today I was reading. There's this guy who has written the book habits, James Clear, and he's saying, and I think that's all I can share for today, is that the whole idea is showing up. It's daily, as we were talking before the meeting starts, is that you need to do something daily about whatever you love about. Like if you want, the way I started is just playing around with Excel. Daily trying to push the boundaries, trying to see what works and what doesn't work, like what I've shown you with Workday International, trying to, for every argument in all the functions that you work with, try to ask yourself, what else can this do? Yeah. No, don't just accept, don't just go and read whatever Microsoft is telling you as the basics. Just ask yourself, what else is there that you want to do? And also join forums. LinkedIn is a very good forum. It has very good professionals who are there. They're educating for free. Your webinars are also very important, and they also have a lot of information. Yeah. So if you learn, if you do something daily, it doesn't matter how small it is, you're going to get there. So it's just doing it daily, and then just pray around. Something will break, something will give. At the end of the day, you are going a step ahead.
Awesome. So I also said that this record will be made available on our YouTube channel. So before the end of tomorrow, we definitely should get the record on our YouTube channel. And also I will add the link to the material. So Crispo is definitely going to send me the material he used today.
Yes.
And for some of you that might be interested, we're also having another section in less than, let's say, 37 minutes from now. So it's on Power BI. Let me just share my screen. For some of you that might be interested, we'll be having, okay, yep. Okay, I think is it. Yeah. Okay, so for some of you that are interested, we're talking about embedding Power BI to multiple platforms. So we're going to show you how to embed your Power BI report into multiple platforms such as WordPress, PowerPoint, SharePoint site, and so many more. So if you're interested, I'll share the joining link to the chat right now. So this is the joining link. So we're starting by 6 p.m. UTC +1. So that's less than 37 minutes. So, and I want to say, Crispo, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. So I hope to see you again very soon. And also everyone, do have a lovely weekend ahead. So I'll stop recording and bye guys.